Thanks for joining us. This is Sarah Jones, joining this again with Politicus Radio. Joining me to talk about the Senate confirmation hearings for Republican Senator Jeff Sessions as Attorney General is Politicus USA's Editor-in-Chief, Jason Easley. I have been troubled so far by how nice Democrats are being to Senator Sessions, a man whose own party found him too racist to be a federal judge in 1986. Do you think that Democrats need to be tougher, and if so, what would that look like?
Yeah, Democrats definitely need to be tougher on Senator Sessions. They seem to be falling into a bit of Senate nice with one of their Senate is loath to criticize their own colleagues, and they're being way too indirect with these questions. Except for Dick Durbin, Patrick Leahy, and Al Franken were a little more pointed in their questioning, especially Dick Durbin. Dick Durbin was very direct with his questioning, so is Patrick Leahy. People aren't going to understand or take away from this the level of Senator Sessions' extremism if Democrats don't confront it plainly and directly.
That's exactly. I just finished writing an editorial about this, and to me it isn't... this is a real challenge for Democrats because part of their value system is to reach across the aisle, to be reasonable. And I think that for a long time, obviously the Senate has had those values, Republican and Democrat alike, and they've treated each other because they're colleagues with respect. But I haven't seen that from Republicans, and I'm using that generally. I'm not saying each and every one of them, but as an overarching description of the modern-day Republican Party. Respectful is not a word I would be using. And I think that the last time, this is the first time we're having a hearing since the Republicans refused for almost a year to even give President Obama's Supreme Court nominee a hearing. Democrats need to be responding to that appropriately. That's A. B, they are dealing with the man who should not be in this position, and to sit there and open with niceties about how we've worked together in the past, you might even be a nice person, whatever these kind of general starts are. To me, this is the lead of what you're telling the American public about this man. That is a big failure. And if this is how Democrats are going to deal with someone whose record is as horrific as Senator Sessions is, I think we're doomed.
I don't know about doomed. That's a really heavy word. It's a big problem because I don't know how, as you said, I will appropriate it, doomed. I don't know how we come back, the Democratic Party comes back from that if they're going to insist on being nice. And this is the whole thing that a lot of people on the left were worried about giving Trump and his nominees a chance.
Right, and you still hear this even from some Democrats and certainly from liberals. There's a whole faction of the party that's always, they think that the way to get to peace is by being nice. And I really have an issue with that because you don't get to peace by appeasing bullies. You don't get to peace by appeasing people who are racist, who have hurt citizens of this country with their policies. That is not how you get to peace. And I know it's not fun, and I know it's not pleasant, and it's not the way that liberals want to see themselves. Nor am I advocating for liberals to act like conservatives, and certainly not the way Republicans have treated President Obama. And yet, let's be honest, if anyone deserves the treatment that Republicans have given President Obama for 8 years, it would be Donald Trump. Because he is actually many of the things they wrongly accused President Obama of being. And I guess I use the word doomed, and I'm going to stand by that because this is the only speed bump. We have no speed bump in the White House anymore. We have the checks and balances have been eroded to such a point that it is alarming to me. And so Democrats, what do they have? They have the people. And they've got to get the people behind what they're saying. And you don't do that by opening up with these, here's all the good things you've done, let's reach across the aisle. You don't reach across the aisle to a racist who is being nominated to be the Attorney General. I'm sorry, that is wrong. Why do I have to explain this? That bothers me. This is wrong. They need to get it together.
I think they need to, if they're really serious about making the argument against Trump and his extremist agenda, you can't, as you said, start off with, this person, we reached across the aisle, we worked on this, we worked on that. if you're going to highlight extremism, then you really have to highlight extremism. Some of the questioners did that, but they would always start off with the pseudo-niceness.
Yeah, and then, talking about his family. I mean, look, this is serious business, people. This isn't the time. I'm not saying be disrespectful. I'm saying take this. Be as serious in your questioning as this issue warrants. And this is pretty darn serious. It doesn't get really any more serious than this. This person is going to be in charge of these of laws, and he has a very problematic record, a record so problematic his own party had issues with it. Why are we dancing around that?
You're talking about the country's top prosecutor.
Right. Why are we acting like... I mean, this is inappropriate. It's inappropriate behavior. This is like if you had a bully in school, and then everyone who claimed they were against bullying was running around going, yeah, but the bully's a nice guy sometimes. No. Stop it.
What they should be talking about is... And you did get some... what should be really frightening and troubling to Democrats is Sessions specifically brought up voter ID and how that needed to be explored as a national issue. Secondly, he anytime he was pressed for details on, let's say, the Violence Against Women Act, or... because Sessions voted against the Violence Against Women Act, he's voted against basically every possible civil rights protection for gay and lesbian Americans. Gay, lesbian, transgender Americans. He's voted against making hate crimes. Voted against hate crime legislation for the LGBT community.
He actually thinks that these crimes against women and the LGBT community don't really happen. I mean, this is the person we are talking about. I'm not suggesting anyone make personal attacks against him. I hope nobody takes that away from what I'm saying. I'm saying treat his record as the abomination that it is. It does not deserve respect. Do not give it.
I mean, there's been a lot written about before these hearings about his record on civil rights towards African Americans. There's been some discussion about how he is Mr. Bill, along Trump's camp, on Build the Wall and anti-immigration. It goes bigger than that.
Right.
He doesn't believe in civil rights for people with disabilities. Right. He doesn't believe in civil rights for protections for women. He doesn't believe in civil rights, as we mentioned, for the LGBT community. This is everybody, unless you're a white man in this country.
Right.
Jeff Sessions is not going to represent your interests as Attorney General.
So he should not be treated with kid gloves like this. And this is a man who doesn't believe that vulnerable people are even subject to inequalities at times. I mean, he's been up here saying, well, basically, don't judge him on his record. Let's judge him on his heart. Republicans have been saying that. Let me clarify that. Republicans have been saying that about him, which is the same thing that Kellyanne Conway just tried to pull for Donald Trump. We don't judge people on what's in their heart. Number one, because we have no way of knowing what's in your heart, and it's not relevant. What we do know is how you act, how you vote, and what you say. That is what we can judge. That's what we're going to judge, because we have nothing else, and because, excuse me, all three of those things actually matter to the people of this country. That is what all of this is supposed to be about. And that's why I'm so angry right now. And I know you're giving me the side eye, but I'm really angry because the bottom line is all of this is about the people. It's not about whether you like this senator as a personal, you work with this colleague and you want to be friendly and you want to be respectful. It's not about that anymore. This is about the people of this country, and they need and they deserve better than this.
The other thing that should be very alarming to people who've been watching the hearing was whenever Sessions and I think Lindsey Graham talked about how the federal government shouldn't be carrying out prosecutions, that the states should be handling that, which means that you can pretty much kiss goodbye Voting Rights Act violation prosecutions and investigations. You can kiss goodbye any civil rights prosecutions, because Jeff Sessions as Attorney General is going to believe that the states should handle it. And if the states don't handle it, meh.
Right, because this is what they've always done. This has been the way, that was the sort of the terminology they used to excuse racism during the civil rights movement, which, by the way, seems like we need to have again, because I feel like we've been taken back almost before all of those fights, and that's really dispiriting, and I know Democrats feel that way, so I don't want to add to that feeling, but it's tough. So what they need to see in their leaders is people who are willing to fight for these things. These things matter. This is people's lives, real lives, not a feeling of like Republicans act like their quote religious freedom, which was another issue that was touched on today. And I didn't hear Jeff Sessions denounce Donald Trump's Muslim ban. He danced around it and said that he thought Trump had changed that, and that's not really the direction he would be going. And at no time did he say that's not going to happen. And then he made a comment about how some people's religion, is basically is dangerous. So we'd have to look at those. And excuse, what does that? I mean, if are we going to pretend like we don't know what that means? When Republicans act like their religious liberty is this big of a deal, their religious freedom, which no one has actually attacked. They have no evidence that their religious freedom was attacked, but they act like it's the end of the world. And here, Democrats are facing actual attacks on people's actual lives. And we're acting like, let's be civil. I just feel like I'm in crazy land sometimes. And I appreciate courtesy and respect. I feel strongly about those things. But I think the truth and reality have to come first right now, and that is the most important thing.
Yeah, I think if women in this country, I think it has been so under-discussed what Sessions as Attorney General will mean for women in this country.
Look what he did with the Violence Against Women Act. He's up here saying, well, I voted for it. It was just I had certain things I disagreed with. No, what he voted for was the Pro-Violence Against Women Act, which is basically what anyone with any interest in the real spirit of that law called the Republican version that he voted for. He voted against the real version. Why? He has issues with LGBT people. He has issues with Native Americans. This is not, I am close to tears right now. None of these things should be in the character of the person who is going to be our head prosecutor. It's the fact that we are discussing this, that is even up for discussion, is pretty mind-blowing. But those things, these are facts. These facts matter. I don't care what's in his heart. I don't care how people want to work with someone and be friends with them. I care about the people of this country. I care about their civil rights. I care about that bullying has been increased since Trump was running for office and certainly since he won. And I want those people protected. Jeff Sessions is not that man. He will do the opposite. Let's treat him as such. Well, that's the end. I just got the cutoff motion from Jason Eastley, so apparently that's the end of my rant. But I really didn't mean to. It isn't that this is rant-worthy. It's that I have a lot of passion for civil rights. I think that's one of the things that liberals share, and it's really important. And I'd like to see the Democratic Party respond appropriately to that. So we will be back and hopefully check in with you after this hearing at the end of the day, and I hope that it goes better for the rest of the afternoon. Thank you so much.